This was one man's collection, 9,000 objects, over 75 years of his life. It's an extraordinary achievement. The first thing he ever bought was at age 15, was a painting, and his father apparently gave him a few shillings to buy a cricket bat and wasn't very impressed when he came back with a painting. Burrell had a real passion for art. He ran a shipping company in Glasgow, and the profits of that he used to buy all sorts of amazing art which he used to decorate his home. So we see it today as part of a museum collection, but for Burrell it was part of his drawing room, his dining room. He had tapestries on the wall, Islamic carpets on the floors, sculpture in every nook and cranny. Then in 1944 he decided to donate this collection to the city of Glasgow, so it's probably one of the best and most generous gifts the city has ever received.
The Queen came to Pollok Park, Glasgow on a cold and brilliantly sunny day to open the Burrell Collection in its own gallery at last.
Like so many others, I have heard much of the splendours of the Burrell Collection.
And those splendours were enjoyed for over 3 decades. But in 2016, the museum closed its doors for restoration works.
Now, on the 29th of March, the collection will reopen to the public for the first time. And this is what it looks like now.
2,000 pieces across 3 floors and 24 galleries. A greener and more accessible space to showcase tapestries, ceramics, stained glass and paintings, with over 800 objects that most will have never seen before. A revamped Burrell collection ready for the public to admire, meticulously put together by a team of curators.
You certainly feel a little bit of pressure. I sometimes think, would he like this? Would he be happy? But at the end of the day, I think he would be delighted to know that his collection is still being looked after and that his legacy remains and it's still here for the people of Glasgow, which was his ultimate goal.
So many amazing pieces, but can you pick a standout? What's your favourite?
It is actually one that's standing right behind me here, which is the Warwick vase. It's made of original Roman fragments and it's covered in scenes of gods. So it's got Bacchus, the god of wine. It's even got lion heads on it. It's a really, truly stunning object.
Laura, what has it been like coming back in today and seeing everything in place?
It's so exciting. This is my first time on site today, actually, so to see the displays that I've been working on for the past 6 years finally in the cases actually made me quite emotional this morning. It was like seeing old friends.
Somebody who shares Laura's love for this place is former keeper of the Burrell, Rosemary Watt.
That's amazing.
She's now retired but returned to the museum to view the collection she knows so well in all its revived glory.
It's still Burrell, it's still got its heart, it's still got its soul, but it's revealed so much more now. There were little areas of the building which were unresolved and they always caused problems. And inflow of visitors and access for visitors, access for staff, and those are now swept away, which is wonderful. I love it to bits.
If you've ever visited the Burrell, chances are you may have met Margaret. She has the longest continuous service with the museum.
Margaret, tell me about what we have here.
Well, here we have the Lohan, who was a Buddhist disciple.
Margaret has been a volunteer tour guide here for 38 years.
He would do one of a dozen or more in a temple courtyard with hands or arms in different positions.
Like so many, she's passionate about the museum, but it wasn't exactly love at first sight.
Well, before it even started, I used to walk a pram through the park and was absolutely disgusted when I came across a building site when they first broke the soil ready to build it, and I thought they're ruining my park. And if anyone had told me that I'd spend half my life involved with it later on, I wouldn't have believed them. I knew very little about art or art history when I joined, and I more or less said in my application form, but I'm willing to learn. And I have just loved learning.
And you've done tours for some rather special people.
Yes, one was the author Sidney Sheldon, and he came with his wife, and we came to a Fountain La Tour, a wonderful flower painting, and she turned to him and said, "Gee, honey, isn't that just like our Fantin-Latour? And I don't live with the kind of people who have paintings like Fantin-Latour that you expect to see in a gallery. So that was quite stunning.
Margaret, what is it about the Burrell Collection that you love?
There's so much. I mean, where we're standing now in the North Gallery is what we call the Walk in the Woods. And everybody loves the fact that you look out into the woods and you can see the lovely nature outside, but also inside you can see nature on tapestries, on paintings and other things. So it blends terribly well.
The Burrell was really the first major project that heralded that reinvention of Glasgow through its cultural assets back in the 80s. We've positioned the Burrell to do that again, I think, post-pandemic. The Burrell can help to drive footfall into the city and re-establish our visitor economy. For the second time, this collection, this building can really be made to work for Glasgow and for the whole of Scotland.
Now, one of the most notable modernisations here at the Burrell Collection is the use of interactive displays much like this. These are sure to prove a hit with little kids and big kids alike.
What you're doing here is you're raising your hand to ultimately try your hand at shaping wood.
There are over 70 digital displays throughout the gallery, and David Scott is the man who helped make this happen.
It feels like you're really doing it.
Yeah.
From interactive games like this one to large video screens highlighting the intricate artwork, there's something for everyone to enjoy.
The Burrell is obviously hugely popular, but do you think digital will help widen the audience?
I think what digital does is it really lowers the barrier that can be between a visitor and an object. And so there's a digital here for younger visitors, for adults and specialists, and there's digital here for family groups.
The Burrell Collection is very much for the people, and 15,000 locals have been involved in the redesign.
We had quite a big voice, and it's quite clear to see from the displays that the pupils have a much more immersive experience in that. There's lots of questions, there's interactive activities as you move through the museum where the children can be far more engaged with pieces than they perhaps maybe used to be.
I remember as a child, getting to do these visits, people coming out to school, giving you swords and things that you would never imagine that you would get to touch. It's so exciting and so important.
We can plan fantastic lessons for the children, but nothing beats that experience of actually setting foot in the museum.
2, 3.
Pupils from Tinto Primary School were the first youngsters to step inside for a special preview.
The way that you're the first school to see the new Burrell Collection after all these years, and it was just amazing.
Everything's very interesting and it's very expensive.
It's really amazing to be here because it's my first time and it's really special to me.
They have made this into a wonderful place here, and it's such a pleasure to just come and visit it.
I saw some sculptures what you're allowed to touch and some pots but you weren't allowed to touch.
I love it. It's a very nice place. I loved how they set it up with the new building and all the glass. It's just brilliant. Some people can't just snatch and steal anything.
With final preparations underway for the grand reopening next Tuesday, hopes are high that everyone will be just as enthusiastic about the Burrell as these children.
So many people that come to the museums across Glasgow, they always say, oh, the Kelvin Grove, that's my museum. Oh, I love going to Riverside. I really hope that people will start to think that way about the Burrell. It's situated in the heart of the south side. I really hope that local communities feel a lot of pride in the Burrell and pride in this extraordinary art collection that's right on their doorstep.